Little gratitude alarms.
Yeah, it's like, please say your affirmation.
Say your affirmation
Say
right
your
now, you
affirmations.
son of a bitch.
I had a girlfriend who would do that in the morning, just sing affirmations, and I'm like, good for you. How come your day still sucks at the end of the day?
I know. You know, when Cass and I lived at down in the city, we had a while where we would do like a morning ritual before we did anything. Like we would go down to the river, say some prayers, and set an intention. Those were probably better days, I would assume.
They were great days. It definitely makes a difference.
No, any day you have more intention for sure, and you start your day off with, like, let's say you had a gratitude checklist rather than a fucking just get up and go on your phone. You're going to have a better day, or at least a more conscious day.
Yeah. I was flipping out yesterday, and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm not doing any of the things I need to do to get into the day, which is meditate, fucking exercise. There's so many things. Like, I need to drink a certain amount of water. There's a little bit of a checklist before I even want to present to anybody. And I presented way too early yesterday and almost today. Today I woke up to the dog barking, and I was like, no one's going to walk this fucking dog. Like, it just killed me. I was so annoyed. So got up, walked the dog, and I was like, I'm going to be in a bad mood the rest of the day unless I go running right now. And that helped. That always helps a lot, because you're just I just slay the beast that just wants to be a little fucking bitch. Yep. So I just slay him, and he doesn't have enough energy to subsist.
No.
I went to bed being like, I hope tomorrow's chill, and then the first thing I have is Sean screaming at me about the fucking dog.
I'm like, no one can walk this fucking thing.
Your parents were both out. They were running errands and taking care of stuff.
No, I know. I was just very upset. That's all.
Oh no, we talked about this yesterday. When you wake up and you have duties that you have to do, that's separate from your routine.
Yeah.
And you're like, I hate this.
But who wants to be so precious about their routine that if they don't do their routine, they're going to be in a bad mood? Like, what kind of trap is that? You know what I mean?
No,
I feel like it's a trap to say, I need all these things in order for me to be pleasant. I'm like, why don't you just have to be pleasant, because you know your day's going to be better if you're pleasant, you know? Is it worth getting angry about it? Just like anger leads to more anger.
Yeah. Well, like I said, let's go live with your mom for a year.
Yeah, I know.
And then tell me you don't need to exercise before you face her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, you're living at your parents' house, which is, no matter how great your parents are, no matter what, it's triggering, because it's like, it's just, it's like a clash. When I went back home for a little bit during COVID, it's like, I love my parents. They let me do whatever I want. They're awesome. But it's like, I still couldn't do everything I wanted. And that's like, I don't know, part of being human is having that like freedom part. So you start to feel constrained.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's also great.
It's just being under that watchful eye. Like, you guys saw it yesterday. I mean, we didn't acknowledge it, but like, my dad comes down here and he's just like pure anxiety flowing out of him, and he's just being anxious about everything in his life and my sister's life and my mom's life, and then he turns it to us and he's like, well, do you guys have anything going on? Anything coming in? Anything going on? I mean, what's... And I'm like, Dad, I don't know. I released a movie at the end of last year. Yeah. I shot a pilot at the beginning of this year, and I've been working on a feature film ever since. Like, what else could I be doing? Yeah. Like, what else? What is, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think
anxiety for anxiety's sake.
He wants a distraction for himself to be like, oh, what do you got going on? Because I can't handle what's going on
Well,
here.
what he wants me is for me to fill in the blanks with like, yeah, we're fucked too. You know, like that's what he wants.
Well, he responded, I didn't even catch this, but he responded very dramatically when he found out we had hit that we had a little car issue.
What happened? No, I'm just kidding.
Do you want me to tell you what happened?
No.
It should come from Sean.
No, basically we were on our way home from West Virginia. On the latest trip for Wild Magic, and it was the middle of the night, and we were like 45 minutes from our hotel, and Cass was in the middle of a 3-lane road, and no one else was on the road, and we just see this black thing in the middle, like just a big black thing in the middle, and it was a bear. There was a fucking bear, like balled up in the middle of the road. I think it had already been hit and killed, but huge, just fucking huge, and Cass just went over it, you know.
I just want to say, I don't know if Joey will say this in front of you, but
I don't think, you know what? Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
As I was going to sleep last night, I was like, Cass made the right choice. That was the only thing to do in that situation. My body got anxiety thinking about you jerking the wheel.
Oh, well, is that what you were about to say? That yesterday I was like, yeah, it's always better. Because when you jerk a wheel, no matter what.
I just pictured our car. As I was going to sleep last night, I pictured our car like up on 2 wheels going back and forth. And I was like, I freaked out at the time, but Cass made the right choice.
Yeah, if you, again, it's like, it's actually, there might even be like something online about this, but it's like safer if it depends. Again, if the bear was upright, you might want to swerve it.
Yeah.
But if it's laying down, you're like, it might be better I go over this thing.
It was right on the cusp. And I think she made the right choice. So we go over the bear, and it just tore off a plate on the bottom of our car. And so the thing was just like flapping in the wind.
I was like, do you guys hear that? You're like, no. And I was like, are you sure?
I have to actively ignore this right now to not explode. And yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, Sean, because I know it's been something that's been upsetting for you and to you, but I appreciate some acknowledgement that I'm not just like make bad decisions. And
No.
No. Well, first of all, everyone makes bad decisions.
Yeah.
I've made tons of bad decisions while I'm driving. Luckily, none of them have led to anything, but
No,
yeah,
same.
literally that moment got replayed in my head last night, and I wanted to wake you up because like my body was like scared thinking about you jerking the wheel,
Yeah.
or thinking about you jerking the wheel in the future when your instinct might not tell you to.
Yeah, because
There's no
you've
edict.
told me I can't go over something, and it's like I literally, because it was dark and it's a dark thing on the road, and I was going 70 on cruise control, which was my mistake.
No,
and like
it's not a mistake.
well, I'm just saying, I had seen a sign that was like, watch out for wildlife.
Yeah.
And I was watching out for it, but I just wasn't expecting like a giant black bear in the middle of a black
What the
road at
hell?
night. So I didn't notice it until I feel like it was 15 feet in front of us.
Yeah.
And I just made the decision. I was like, I'm going over this thing.
I would have been, if it had been fatal, luckily it's not, I would have been completely dead asleep and then dead within the next moment. I would have been like
nice,
asleep.
easy out.
Yeah, and then I heard you guys go like, "Oh my god!" and I was like, "Oh!" and then I didn't have enough time to react. But like, that's when you would have died. You'd be like, "Oh shit! Oh,
What?
yeah."
I swear I saw the bear lift its head potentially.
Don't
And
say
Come
that.
on.
well, and it makes me upset because obviously I don't want to kill a bear. I don't want to kill anything, but the bear was obviously very hurt and not making a comeback. And I'm guessing I may have gave it its death blow, which I think is good because
Yeah.
you want, if you're suffering, you want to.
It's like Dave, the show
Yeah,
Dave.
when they ran over
Yeah,
that
this-
bunny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You need to, and then it cuts to him like rapping it.
Yeah, that was wild. That really fucked me up a little bit
Yeah.
because, like, I don't know.
Well, you already have.
I have
PTSD
PTSD.
from
Yeah,
fucking-
I hate that. I wish
Yeah.
there was a better word for it because, like, when you say PTSD, it's people are like, "Oh, you were in the military
No,
or something."
not
It's like I've
PTSD.
just watched my sister go through plate glass windows and tables and
Yeah.
off ledges and over balconies,
Yeah.
and like I've just literally bared with any loud sound scares the
The fuck outta
fucking
you. Yeah.
shit out of me.
Yeah.
You've also been in really bad car accidents.
Yeah, where I was a passenger, and like, and the type of car accident where like your driving triggers me sometimes because I feel like I can't say like, can we just chill a little bit? Because that was the situation I was in when I was a young boy, and my aunt and uncle got in a car accident. Like, they were driving crazy, they were drunk, and there was nothing I could say. I was like 12 or 13 years old. You're just like, and then we slammed 60 miles an hour into the back of a car with zero braking at all. Slammed into the back of a car.
Whoa.
Yeah. That was completely stopped. And it was just like, I mean, I can
They
remember
were
that
reaching-
sound and smell.
Oh no, that fucking. I mean,
They were reaching around for a Southern Comfort bottle that was like between. I'm not even kidding you. They were drunk and they were reaching around for a Southern Comfort bottle, and we just had a devastating, crazy ass car accident. Like, I could still smell it. It was so crazy. So I'm like a much more nervous passenger than driver.
Yeah.
Way more. Like, as a
Oh,
driver,
no.
I know what
same,
I'm doing.
Same.
You
No,
know?
I'm passenger because I think I just have no control, and I'm like, I want to control the situation. But like when you guys are driving, I'm actually not that worried. Like, there's certain people in my life that,
Yeah.
like, I won't get in a car if I'm nervous with somebody driving. Like,
Right.
I learned that probably 8 years ago when my friend, he was like, he must have been on pills and not even told us at that time because there was like a period of time he was on pills or whatever. But we were just getting high, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I had to be like, he's talking to my friend. Like, he'll be talking to him while he's talking and keep his eye off the phone for about 3 seconds or off the road and start talking until the point where I'm like, yo, Connor, eyes on the road. He's like, oh, yeah. Starts going, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, yo, Connor. I like
Yeah,
scream. He had to screech his brakes. We skid around the car. Like, he by just a second. And I'm like, I will never get in a car with you again. And I never did.
No, and I appreciate you because I see that you're a nervous passenger
Yeah,
too, probably
yeah.
because of that. And like, 'cause you'll give me like little heads up, like, hey, they're stopping or whatever, and I'm
yeah.
like, I know, but I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cass can get a little defensive about
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I just need to hear myself say this so we both know.
Well, just so you know, they say in a good, like in a car, the healthy situation is drivers driving, obviously in control, passenger is actually the second pass, like the second pass of like filter.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to keep your eyes on the road as a second
Yeah.
passenger. That's why they call
Yeah,
it.
that's why
shotgun.
I'm always looking at the road when I'm a passenger.
Yeah, me too,
And
I try.
I've stopped Sean and I've been like, whoa, Sean, like shit, it's not like I don't do that for you. Where I get frustrated with you is you'll be looking at your phone and I'll have my foot on the brake and you'll be like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, you just got scared because you weren't paying attention. You know what I mean? But other than that,
That does happen.
I always appreciate that you speak up, and I would rather have a second set of eyes and someone telling me. And yeah, I am defensive, but it doesn't mean I don't
I think
appreciate
sorry.
the second whatever.
I was gonna say I think you're kind of like me too, where it's like sometimes we will just start wandering a little bit and driving such second nature that you're like, oh shit, you or I will be going 5 miles over the speed limit without even realizing it, and it's not like you're doing anything crazy dangerous, but it's just that little thing that adds to it. And then Sean's like, oh wait, what are you doing? Let's slow down. And it's like, you don't
Yeah.
need to slow down, but it probably would be a little safer if we slowed down.
Yeah, and I
I'm
do.
sorry, I'm not trying to point you out. I do the same
No,
thing.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I want to be so safer. I do want you guys to feel safe. And I am a defensive person. So as much as I
Yeah.
have to then deal with Sean being like attacking or whatever it is, like he's going to have to deal with me being defensive, and it's just like kind of our dynamic a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But are you sorry for giving me such a hard time now?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
I think I talked to you about that last night before we went to bed.
Okay.
But specifically that decision,
Yeah.
I went over in my head with a clear conscience, and I was like, Cass did the right thing. Thank fucking God.
I said it yesterday when we were out at the car. I was like, I think honestly, it's probably better that you didn't try to jerk around this.
Yeah,
thing.
and if you would have seen it,
Yeah.
you would say the same. You
Yeah.
would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it happened so fast, and it was like, I don't know. We just don't have Cass and I, when she's driving, we don't have a good record of going over the mysterious thing in the road.
Yeah.
I
don't.
have ripped the bottom of our car and like led to like an oil leak
Oh.
before.
Yeah, we've had this kind of come up before, and
You
know.
do get a little nervous over the potholes, so like you're like so focused on it that you end up hitting it. You're like,
I know. I'm like, what the fuck?
Me?
I feel like
Yeah,
a little
babe.
bit.
Come
like,
on.
Well, I just feel like you're so focused on it because you're like, I don't want to upset Sean.
Yeah,
I don't want to
there's
hit it.
yeah,
I don't want to do this, and then you
Let
end
me
up,
split the difference.
Yeah, and then you end up hitting it a little bit
Yeah.
rather than just put it in the center of your car. That's
Yeah.
like the best place to do it is put it like right over everything.
Hey, it
Sorry,
happens.
I'm not. It's fine. I'm not a.
It happens.
Yeah, we all. You're a great driver for the record. By the
Yeah.
way. By the way, mate.
Yeah, literally. You actually are.
You drove like you guys both drove collectively like fucking 15,000 miles with me. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
feel, I
And
feel-
you're a good driver. I don't know how we don't get you in the mix that often.
I just don't want to be responsible for the black bear. It's like,
I don't want you to like. I'm like, I didn't even want to drive yesterday, but I was like, Joey, if anyone's gonna catch Sean's wrath, it should be me.
Yeah.
You know what I
but
mean?
I feel like if it happened to me, Sean, I don't think he would be as He'd be like upset, but he's not going to be like,
bro.
he'd be like, what the
And in my
hell?
head, I'm like, I'm not letting Joey drive anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Cass, it's like I'm like, this is my life. I'm like, I feel like we should take a lesson away from this. That's what it is for me. That's why I become a little bitch. I'm like,
Yeah.
can we take a lesson away from
Yeah.
this? I'm like outside the car, like pointing at Cass. I'm like, the car is 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
What do you think we could go over? I think you think we're in an SUV. Like, what is it you're thinking when you drive over this shit?
I secretly.
And I'm showing her. I'm like, look how narrow the car is, and look how high up it is off the ground. It's like any sedan out there. This is not an SUV. Please don't drive over.
For the
shit.
record, it was $0 worth of damage, though. They fixed it for us.
I know. We had very generous souls
Yeah.
come through for us.
Aussie Chris or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aussie Chris.
I think, yeah. Whatever that was, it was meant to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever more danger that helped us avoid by slowing us down a little bit or
Yeah,
distracting
yep.
us or keeping us a little bit in a different frame of mind. Like
Yep.
whatever it did, it's setting us up for the next thing.
It achieved.
Yeah,
what we
that's
needed
the
to achieve.
that's the only way I think I can make this movie.
Yeah.
Is just be like, whatever
Yep.
that was, it is, and it's all.
It's like when
good.
we're filming with Mikey and stuff. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this exactly? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm liking filming it. I'm like, this is
I-
fun.
I love filming with Mikey. He was a guest on our last podcast. We met him in Asheville, new friend.
Yeah, I
and
love it.
yeah, we were just fucking around, like not even like trying to have him in the movie, and then
Yeah.
and then we just rolled up to him with the thing already recording. And just seeing what people do in that situation is so fucking funny, and especially him. He's
Yeah.
just. He's the man. He
really is. I
He just
love
puts it into that gear where I don't know. It just he reminds me of like dudes I knew in high school.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. That I'd spend hours and hours and hours and hours with. Like
Yeah.
they'd just be part of the friend group, and they
Yeah.
just, Like they were the ones doing the crazy shit, and I'm like, I love Mikey. He's the
It
best.
felt like we'd known him forever
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
You know, like even like I could tell, but like when Cass was on the phone with him, I was saying, to you,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, listen to Cass's tone of voice with him.
Totally.
It sounds like she's known him for 10 years.
Totally. She's like, no, we can't do that.
Like,
We'll
stop.
meet you
Come on,
later.
Mikey.
We'll
Yeah,
meet you later.
whatever. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, you know, like, I'm like, that's how you know he's a homie.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. If Cass doesn't try to put on the nice producer voice for the
No,
first
just
couple
like-
times.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's just a real motherfucker, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And he
yeah.
just like it's like a big relief when you can talk to someone like that, you know.
It's a big relief when you find someone like that.
Yeah.
And speaking of intention, it was our intention before we went out on this trip.
No,
we're like, we
did
need
say
some more boys, man. Like we were trying to name our like top G's.
that. Yeah. Top
we were
G's
like,
is good to have a small amount of people, by the way.
It is. It is.
Boys, that's good to have
But
a
yeah, we
large
were like, man, we don't even have like as many to choose from as we thought. You know what I mean?
Well, people move, they have other lives,
Yeah.
sweep them up, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like once they move, it's like they're still a top G, but it's like I don't see them anymore. Like it's hard.
It's hard,
Yeah.
and I'm further along in that than you are.
Yeah.
So when I go to name my top G's, I'm like, damn, I haven't talked to some of these guys in a while.
Yeah.
You know.
I call my friends all the time, so that's good.
Yeah,
but
you're really good
I
about
do
that.
talk to them all the time, but it's still like I miss living. I haven't lived around Seabass or Ethan or Cody in forever. Like
Yeah.
forever, ever. Like Ethan probably close to 8, 9 years since I graduated. Whatever, 7, 8 years. But I go and visit him and stuff. But
that's why they're a top G is because when you get around them, it's like it's almost like
Nothing's
0
changed.
days
Yeah,
went by in
exactly.
between. You just pick right up where you left off
Exactly.
with. And the crazy thing is, I was like racking my brain to name like, okay, my life's top G's, and they're all actually J's.
yeah, which is so
Jesse, Joe, Joey,
Uh-huh.
Julie, Jack. And if I wanted to name another one, like who else is really like part of my, it would be like Johnny
Yeah,
Fritz.
yeah.
Did you put
yeah.
Joe in there?
Joe, Joey,
Okay, yeah.
Jesse, Jack, Julie,
And some Jack-
Johnny,
Jack Dunn.
and Jack Dunn, my
Jack
dad.
Dunn. A lot of J's.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird,
You're the
and
jokers.
like with Cass and I have, we've dated a bunch of girls together.
Mhm.
They all have similar names.
Mara. Oh my
Yeah.
God, you're right.
They all have M names, and it's all M.A.
Yeah.
There's been some other. Carrie was not.
Carrie's the
Carrie.
big exception,
Yeah.
but Mallory started it all off.
Mallory.
Yeah,
M's and J's. You got to be careful of MJ's.
Michael Jordan, baby.
Michael Jordan. baby.
Magic Johnson.
Magic
I'm
Johnson.
the Magic Johnson of the game.
Much jerking. All right, I'm gonna do this as a.
Fuck it.
You guys killed me last night. I feel like you were herbing me
Oh,
out.
that was so fun. We weren't
Damn,
herbing
Cass,
you
I
out at
forgot
all.
about that.
I feel like I was like, they fucking herb me out. They're like,
No.
this is boys fucking playing a little trick on the weak link in the group.
No,
Not at all.
and
Not one bit. That's probably what you were in your head about. I was just like, oh, Cass is having a fun.
I was like, I was a
Stoned.
bitch the other day, and these boys are fucking serving it to me now.
No, I don't think so. That's not what I was taking from
I
it.
was just noticing, you know how, in that movie Triangle Sadness, they're like, why do you have a triangle of sadness in between your eyes?
Yeah.
That's what it is. I always I look at Cass, and if I see the twin towers of fucking
yep.
despair, I'm like, stop it, smoke weed or something. Why are
Yeah.
you frowning like that? So that's all it was. It was like, Cass, it's fucking 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. We're
Yeah.
just watching the Mets
Getting
game.
So stoned.
Let's just get stoned with us.
I know, but you served me a big milky one, and then after it, you were like, that's more than we've ever served ourselves ever.
I don't know. I think we were fucking around.
Yeah, no, I was kidding. That's definitely not the biggest one we served.
You might have to put something in there, Joey.
I did. I put like 2 Glaubertons. All right, I think it just needs to burn.
Yeah, it just needs a second. It's preheating. It's like there it goes.
See?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. So this is now the retaliation to the Puff no, fuck no.
Yeah, Puff no. That's
Fuck
what
no.
we say.
Yeah.
Unless Puffco makes the situation right,
We're not cool. with
I'm
it.
shit talking them. But
Oh, here, do you want a little milky dab?
sure, I'll take
I'll
one
just
of
take
these.
it off of there.
Big thank you and big shout out to Atlanta.
Panda Banana Atlanta. She was one of the coolest people we met too. Panda
Yeah,
Banana
holy
Atlanta.
shit, bro.
She was awesome.
She hooked it up with this device.
I'm like, your guys' fans are fucking awesome, and
Way
like,
cooler
They're
than
way
us.
cooler than us.
I was about to say it's kind of detrimental to call them like a fan. They're just dope. They're like
That's
they
why.
love-
That's why you see us go out of our way to meet them, so
Yeah.
we don't even have to think about them like
Exactly.
that anymore. It's like, oh, it's our
Exactly.
friend. Like, damn, how did we not meet this girl until now? But she gave us this. I don't even know what it's called.
Look at this thing.
Oh, I found out. I can find out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
look
shout
at
out.
this
We'll shout out
thing.
this product. This product literally, like Cass, I feel like hits dabs with us all the time.
Yeah.
This one, I was scared for you.
Yeah.
She was in like an hour and a half long weed coma, like where like all her muscles were tight and they were like doing that like shaking even though you're not cold.
I was processing a lot.
I was gonna say my thing is like, if you get that high, you got to. It's funny how when you're that high, like not you personally, anybody, it's like sometimes you just don't say that thing that's on your mind. That can probably cure that whole
I know.
One time before I left town, like the night before I left town, I was with my homie Jake. He lives in my building now. My neighbor Becca, we were out there. I was like, yo, let's smoke some joints. I rolled up some joints. And it got to the part of the night where we were so high, sitting up there for like an hour and a half, went through so many laughs and everything, and then like just died down to zero. Like we were just like, okay. And I was like, yep. And like in my head, I'm like, do we end this? Should we end this hang? Do we stop? Do we keep going? Like, what do we keep making? And we like lasted for another 10 minutes and we were laughing and stuff. But like, it was kind of awkward because you're in that thing of like, do we leave now? Or like, I find weed makes goodbyes very awkward for me.
Or everything.
Or everything very awkward for me. And it's like, it's just funny because then like we just sat there and it naturally dispersed or whatever. But I could have just been like, you guys want to go to bed? Are you tired? And I think that we were tired.
Yeah.
We just didn't. No one wanted to say it.
I wish I knew the best protocol on how to handle that kind of stuff because Cass and I have found ourselves in that situation thousands of times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like 'cause, mainly our life used to just be hanging out with strangers.
I would just go to bed. I'd just be like,
yeah,
I
but
just
then but you're leaving me hanging.
well, then I just say, well, then you can go to bed too.
That's true.
We just say, let yourself out.
I usually
I've done
I'll
that
go to
so
bed.
many
You'll go to bed
times.
first, or I'll go to bed first, and then I'll start to like.
Yeah.
I remember with when we made Family Trip and the guide was on some MDMA, and she came over to like hang out with us after the shoot. It was like, what time was it? It was like
It was midnight.
midnight.
I was shocked.
I was so tired, and you
Yeah.
guys were all talking, and like and then she starts going to this like monologue thing. 'Cause she's on Molly, and she's like sounding good, but I'm just like, I can't do this. I was like, there's no way for me to say I'm going to bed without this being awkward and starting everyone going to bed, and then she's alone here on Molly. So I just like walked out, got some water, and I was like, I'm just gonna go up to bed. I just like went up to bed. Yeah. Then Irish sleep. Sleep over.
That's what I do, and I don't judge other people for doing it, so I assume they don't judge me. But it's for some reason very noticeable when I do it. You know,
I think without saying goodbye is a little different than without like when you go to bed. Who cares? You're gonna see them later.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Bro.
But when
hopefully we both survive the night.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you in the morning.
There's hopefully we'll both survive the night.
Like, come on, man. We got very high.
I never know if we're going to survive the night down here because it's so cold. It's such a cold
It's going to be a cold
I don't know if
baby.
I don't know if I'm going to wake up with frostbite on my little niblets or.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I never know when a hang is over or, like, how the person should leave. And, like, there's been actually a lot of times where, like, of course, we've always told the stories of, like, people overstaying their welcome. And I'm like, I can't believe this person's still here 3 days later after they came over. You know?
I feel like I've overstayed my welcome at people's places and then realized, like, as I'm leaving, like, oh, shit, I should have left an hour ago.
No.
Really?
I can think of a few situations because I think that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to make people feel as comfortable as possible. And we do that even when we go to someone's place. We're just like, let's settle in. Let's get comfortable. And so when that's the MO, it's kind of hard.
Alana, if we overstayed our welcome,
Yeah,
we
that's what I was
apologize. We really settled
We
in.
definitely didn't. I think she wanted to hang out like all night.
I would have hung out.
I don't think she wanted to
all
leave
night.
and like go out and do shit, but she would have hung out with us. All
It's
night.
like us when
Yeah.
people would come over to our apartment. I'm like, you could stay as long as you want. I'm having a great time. I'm not going to a second location with you. But, you know.
That's how people get killed. But
I get it. You know,
80% chance of dying if they take you to the second
but
location.
we've also experienced and done ourselves. What our move more likely is to do is leave way before we should have.
Yeah.
You know,
You
that's
guys
more
do a
of our
lot.
move.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, it's not. Okay, cool. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I remember we showed up to you, me, Mayor, and Cass showed up to Danny. What's that little artist kid's name?
Danny Cole.
Danny Cole. We went to like he had like this big warehouse party.
Halloween. We were in Juggalo makeup.
Oh, that's what it was. And we like went up there. Yeah, we were in Juggalo makeup. We go there, and it's just like 21-year-old twinks and twinkettes, and like everybody's just like drunk partying mode. Which like even when I was 21, I wasn't doing that.
Just another level of energy. Just like
yeah. And like I could have easily actually when you get in those scenarios, I could have easily just stayed there and been like, "Yo, let's get drunk and party or whatever." But look, I don't like alcohol that much. But we got there. we left within 15 minutes. You guys were like,
If
this is
that.
not the scene for us. And I was like,
No.
yeah, I don't know if it's actually. I would have ended up staying there all night if I was with my young, dumb, full of cum bros.
Yeah.
We would have been.
That's what I've always appreciated about Sean is we like if it ever just doesn't start to feel right, we leave. Like we'll be
Yeah.
at a show, even a show of a band we like, and when we're done with it, we're done with it, and we'll just
Yeah.
leave. Like we don't have some weird rule like we have to see the last song or whatever.
No, I
it
like
is.
that too. There's only been a couple times where I'm like, we should maybe stay a little longer. But like,
I know.
rarely.
Well, at a show, I think
We're
nowadays
trying to beat traffic.
the
Yeah.
policy is either we're going to be the first people out of here or the
Or the
last.
last, yeah.
You know, in My Morning Jacket, we were the last people out of there.
That was awesome.
I loved that.
I love that,
There was
too.
no traffic. We didn't
No.
have to battle any drunk
No.
people.
No.
And, you know, at Dead and Company, Cass and I went out there, and it was just like, you know, Drums in Space came, and we were like, oh, let's get a better spot. And we couldn't find a better spot. And we're like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
And we rolled. And I looked
Yep.
at the set list, and I'm like, I didn't care about singing those songs anyway. It just
Yeah.
it worked out. Whatever. It is what it is. This is also like I'm 42 years old. You know, so I'm just at a different stage of socializing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to beat a dead horse in any situation.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. And like as I've gotten older, I found it way more easy to enunciate my needs or like just be okay with like, yeah, that's what I need. Like when
Yeah.
you're
Or
younger.
just realize the best thing you can do for someone else is do what you want to do for yourself, because
Totally.
if you're putting yourself out in a way that you're feeling like uncomfortable or like not like resentful, like that doesn't help the person you're with. And if they're a grown ass adult, they can understand like, hey, you're tired and you want to leave, like it's not about me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I have to pee, yo.
Oh, okay.
Sean, I think you're gonna want to edit out what Joey and I did because we just fixed the tapestries.
You know, I leave here.
We have nothing to say to each other.
I leave here, and all I ask is you keep the torch aflame
I know. I'm
for
sorry.
a few brief moments.
I just like did not like how everything was slipping off. So
Slipping and sliding. That's what's happening.
slip sliding away.
Yeah. Oh, my baby, I was a little worried about you last night, I must say. I forgot about that until you brought it up on this, how high you got.
Yeah. Well,
You haven't been like that in so long.
Well, we fought a lot yesterday, so I think I was just processing some of that, and so you were probably a little insecure because you were like, "What's she thinking?" I don't know. I would guess.
I was just hoping you were okay. I know it wears off.
I mean, I was high. Like, what are you worried about? Like, what's your concern?
You just kept doing that like fake, like, yeah, no, I'm fine, everything's fine. And I'm like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm sorry, we got into a fight before. You know?
Yeah.
Yesterday was my birthday,
Yeah. Happy birthday.
and I was very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know, my day started in like a whirlwind of like, oh, we got to get the car fixed, and we got to go do this, and it threw me off, and I felt sad. I think I've probably felt sad on like fucking 75% of my birthdays. It might be one of my saddest days of the year.
Yeah, because it's kind of, what do you think? It's just like you start to feel like, oh, fuck, I'm 42, and like, what is my life kind of thing?
Not even. I don't know. It's very hard to speak to, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel sad on some of my birthdays too.
Something about the attention from people that you barely know. I don't know. I hate to say that. Like, it sounds like I'm a
But doesn't that
Grinch.
make you feel good? Because when
It
when no
does.
one knows your birthday, then you feel sad. Oh, no one wished me a happy birthday. No one cares. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, for me, what
I just want something deeper. I'm like, if you reached out to like some of these people, like I look and I'm like, oh, the only time we ever text each other is to say like some obligatory happy birthday. I'm like, oh, I just wish it was a little deeper.
yeah. Well, you got to bring that. You got to bring whatever you
I know.
want
I know.
to life and any sort of.
The years just fucking, they melt into a dream. They go by faster, I'll tell you that. And that spooks me a little bit. Like how quickly I went pretty much from 40 to 42 just seems like 3 months to me. And that's so.
Yeah, like it's crazy that I've known you from like 28.
Yeah. You've known me since I was Joey's age. When you met me, I was Joey's age.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That I've like seen you through all that time. Like, and I don't have a moment where I'm like, oh my God, you're so different.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously
There's
you've
no
changed a
one
lot.
day where you're like, oh, your chest hair came in. You're bald now. You're jacked.
Sometimes
You know,
I'll look
it just
at
happens.
I'll look at myself and I'll be like, oh wow, you have a beard now. Like
Yeah.
my facial hair like came so late, like 19.
Yeah,
was
yeah.
when I first
Still
started.
coming
even
in.
It's still coming in. But I was like, wow, you have facial hair. Like you can actually kind of grow a little something. Oh, don't worry, I'm very well aware that this is missing, but I kind of like it. I think it adds a youthful.
Yeah, I had that forever.
Yeah.
I still kind of have that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not rushing for it to fill in. I don't care.
It will. I'll tell you this. At
What?
some point, you're gonna be like, I wish this would stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like for me, like I remember seeing dudes that like had the beard connected to the chest hair, and I'm like, I feel bad for you. That's a lot of hair to manage. That's like there's no distinction in it.
Yeah.
Now it's starting to happen to me. Like
Yeah.
my beard line keeps going down, and my chest hair line keeps going up.
Girls are gonna love that. I mean,
Girls are gonna
mine's
love
spread.
this.
Yeah, mine's gonna spread. Like my dad's. I already have like a lower back, like little hair here, just keep me warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how it is. I was gonna say, you remember there was something that we were talking about earlier. That
Well,
you're like,
this is it. Well, it could start with this question.
Okay.
When did you do your laundry for yourself as a child, Cass? Like when did you start doing your own laundry?
I did my own laundry off and on, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. 11. I have
I think
no
that's
idea.
healthy. I think it's healthy.
Yeah,
because I think
that's very healthy.
Cass is probably one of the more better adjusted people we know.
Yeah.
She knows how to take care of herself, like in the
100%.
real world.
Totally. Like you can. Yeah.
Joey and I both didn't do our own laundry till college.
Your mom
Yeah,
would do
until
your laundry.
our mom was
Yeah.
gone.
See,
Yeah.
my dad would be the one who did the laundry, and then we also had I had a babysitter who would help out with laundry and stuff too.
Yeah, that gone.
So I'm not saying I was the most. I don't know if I would do what I got for a kid. Like I don't think that's necessarily the best thing, but I was doing laundry. Like it wasn't something I was scared
I
of.
don't see why kids aren't doing more shit. Like, I mean, yes, they don't need to do more. Like, all right, you gotta fucking wake up, blah 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 blah, blah like military regimen. But like
Responsibilities.
A little
Yeah.
bit more responsibilities.
And I think we're coming to that. Like, I think, again, back in the day, it's just normal. Like, your mom did the laundry, she folds it, blah, blah, blah. But obviously not for everyone. But,
well,
like,
my best friend was doing his own laundry at like 10, 11 years old. And I thought it was like crazy and
Yeah.
oppressive. And like I thought there was something wrong with their household. And this motherfucker's like an eye doctor with multiple MDs. Like
exactly.
this dude turned out to be like the real deal.
Totally.
Like in terms of like a professional who like is actually doing some shit.
Like,
yeah, so you think your mom's kind of stunt you by being like, "I'll baby you."
Yeah,
as long
and
as
I think
possible.
just the laundry thing is like a little like it's a big indicator.
Totally.
Probably.
Totally.
It's so funny though because you're so responsible now. You do the laundry in our household. Like, these things
I
happen.
suddenly had to. My family was sucked
like
away
we're
from
saying,
me in
yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
went from like, oh, there's a meal. Let's just throw your things in the laundry
Exactly.
to like everyone's gone.
Same.
And it's time that you have to step up. And I was
Yeah.
good about that.
Yeah.
I learned how to cook some stuff, and I learned how to do my own laundry, and I don't know.
I think it's hard when you like we should be microdosing responsibilities as you grow up rather
Yeah.
than like when I was 18 like yeah you move out of the house all of a sudden like I'm in college yeah that's even still like a somehow derived place but like I got to do my laundry I got to do my homework but my dog ate it my room is completely dirty like
Yeah.
you have to learn how to clean for yourself you've got to learn all these things that again it's like if you just microdose those responsibilities every day like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. I remember I got to a point, it was probably like, I have a picture on it. If you go all the way down on my Instagram, you can see my room freshman year, like all these responsibilities, hours of homework, hours of class, and like laundry. I took a picture of my room. It was like literally just like clothes everywhere. Just clothes, towels
Christ.
everywhere. Like it wasn't like disgusting. Like it's not like there's food everywhere, but it was a lot
Towels?
of clothes. A lot of clothes, towels, laundry
It
bin.
feels like there's just like a moment that happens in life where you're like, I don't want to live like this. Because I was a slob as a kid, and like my parents were so worried about me. Like, how are you going to be an adult? And now I'm an adult who makes my bed and doesn't like leave a big mess. And
yeah.
there's just comes a point where you're just like, I don't want to live like this.
No.
Comes a time.
Yeah.
Everyone's houses that I went to when I was younger, like my friends' houses and stuff, it always because my dad was so OCD, like
My
everything's
parents were
clean.
too,
You can't
yeah.
bring food to the basement.
Yeah.
You don't bring it in your room either. Like
Yeah.
you eat here,
Same.
you hang out here, blah blah, blah whatever. Where I'd go to my friends' houses, I'm like, first of all, you guys have TVs in your room. I'm like, you guys
Yeah.
have, but then there's just like I remember my friend Emily Close's house. Her house was just like there was just everywhere, every corner and nook had something in it, and like, and it stressed me out so much. I'm like, how do people live like this? This is
Yeah. Well, I also think that I had the same thing, but I feel like it was partly imparted on me by my parents and their level of OCD, and like,
Yeah.
you know, they would talk trash about other people's like living situations and shit and be like, I don't know why they don't vacuum. Like, it's disgusting over there. So then I would go into people's places and literally have an asthma attack.
Yeah.
I think because my parents had weaponized all this like OCD stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's bizarre that I'm not allergic to cats and dogs and all this stuff anymore. There's no house I walk into and have an asthma attack right away,
Yeah.
unless there's like a mold issue. Mikey.
Well, your allergies change as you get older. Like, you lose allergies.
That's true.
You can gain allergies as you
Yeah.
get older and everything.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I used to get asthma attacks, even Magic, like just for little dogs. And
Yeah.
then as I got older, probably like 19, like I just stopped having reactions to dogs. The
Yeah.
cats still get me,
Yeah.
but the dogs, god damn it.
The dags.
But yeah, I was saying about my friend doing laundry. I'm like, it really did impact them because they had everything done for them. Their mom coddled them so much, but their dad was very authoritative. Like,
Yeah.
so it was like two diametrically opposite forces on them.
The archetypes, too. That's
Yeah.
how you'd think a family is.
Exactly. And it's like, dude, they can't. They could be the coolest like artists I know, and they were so talented and funny and all these things, and like, but they don't know how to make a decision, and they're stuck in such like monotonous life. Like, their job sucks. Like, my one friend has been going like same job for like 8 years, and he hates it. He makes like no money. He's like, but he has to do it because
Yeah.
you know, whatever, school debt and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm like, you could do so much cooler stuff right now. Like, you can make more money, you can do all this stuff, but they're like scared to trust their instincts because their dad has always like bossed them around in a lot of ways, and then the mom's like coddled them.
Yeah, I can think of some examples of this.
Yeah.
And like to me, those were the healthiest families. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, the dad, like, he's normal and he
I
just works
know,
hard, and
I
like
know.
the mom is a nice Italian
Yeah.
woman who takes care and I make you a nice stromboli.
Folded the laundry.
You know, I knew some kids with some like just crazy stereotypical Italian moms, and they turned out similar to what you're saying, like kind of like, I don't know, it's like through life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll marry this girl. I guess I'll do this. I guess I'll get this job.
I guess I'm gonna do this. I guess my wife will boss me around.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like literally.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's those like little, like they were never given an opportunity in their life much. Like maybe my parents overpowered me a little too, or gave me too much power a little bit too much. Like, I say a lot of stuff that like I don't know. I just like. They'd get mad if I said it, but people laugh, so I just keep saying it through my life, and like
Yeah.
I'll keep pushing the boundary. But like some people didn't get to use their voice enough at all. Like they, you know,
I think that's probably more what we're talking about.
definitely where
Yeah.
you don't get to develop your voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I was so neglected. I feel like I got to develop my voice a lot.
Yeah.
Like even my whole family could be sitting in a room and nobody was listening to what I'm saying. So I'm just doing dumb sounds and voices and trying out things. And it's just totally to a dead audience. Like
Yeah.
nobody was. My sister Caitlin always thought I was hilarious.
Yeah, okay,
Katie
good.
always was like on it with me. Like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But like, it would piss my dad off. My mom wouldn't really pay attention. Piss my sister Megan off.
real. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it was like my older sister. She
Yeah.
pissed at me.
Yeah, and you know, but that's kind of how I developed my voice, was because like there was just so many people and so much going on. It's like I had spaciousness where like people just weren't paying that close attention to me. Probably
Well-
the opposite of like what Cass went through. You know.
Some people go through. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I feel like were you about to say something?
I spent a lot of time alone.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like, my parents weren't helicopter parents by any means. That's a lot of
No.
times I'd be like, you guys, why don't you worry about me?
They're cool. It's because they had you at 37.
Yeah.
You know, they're like it's all good, whatever.
Like, she'll be
figure it out.
fine.
And
She'll
one
figure it out.
child too.
Yeah, it was like I could just walk over to my. I grew up on a dirt road. Walk over to my friends, be in the woods for hours. Like
So
my
nice.
parents didn't have a cell phone. They weren't like, "Where are you guys at?" We were just.
You were doing your thing.
I was just doing my thing. It was pretty cool.
You were just a 13-year-old girl smoking weed in the woods.
yeah, I was.
Did you smoke weed at 13?
Yeah,
How come I didn't know about this? I say this all the time. Like, I started smoking around like 12, 13.
because I didn't start smoking. I smoked, but I wasn't like a regular smoker from
You're like,
13 on.
This is so funny.
Did you get high?
I just remember looking in the mirror and being like, my eyes are so red, but like not sure how to identify the feeling.
Yeah.
So it didn't
Yeah.
feel like till like the next couple times. And then, I almost wish I could get that high again where you're like, wow, time's moving so fast. I'm having more thoughts, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like all, and kind of just like making sense of what even is being high, you
Like
know.
I've just been laughing for an hour and I don't know about what. Like, is
Yeah.
this okay? Like,
Yeah.
like just man, just next level.
That was
I
fun.
experienced that for the first time at 24 years old. I just had like a summer where I smoked weed like 12 times.
You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, dude, I was seriously
Yeah.
like, whoa, what the and the first few times don't hit. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's because like what Cass is saying, it's like you don't know what it is, you don't know like the identifying factors, and it's usually like the third, fourth time where you're like, oh, I see what this is doing to me. I like this. I can
That's
play
it,
with this
yeah.
feeling.
That might be what's happening with kava, because they say I still feel like I haven't had a kava
You have a
high.
reverse tolerance with kava.
Yeah, where you have to do it more often.
The more you do it, the more sensitive you are to it. That's reverse
Yeah.
That's
tolerance,
crazy.
Yeah, which is
Have you
weird,
done
right?
enough kava to know what it feels like?
No.
Well, I know that one night we were in Asheville, we drank a bunch of kratom and kava, and we were fucking on one.
Oh yeah.
We were partying, and Cass and I were up till like 2 a.m. talking.
yeah.
You know, just working. It felt like we were on Molly, but I'm like, I had like a sip of kava and like a couple sips off a kratom drink. and-
If you have a full like a kratom drink, some nicotine, some weed, like the perfect mixture,
yeah,
you do feel like you're on Molly. You're like, like you said the other night, you're like, I was okay with just chilling. Like I was just sitting there
it makes
chilling.
you. Not that I'm an advocate for this stuff and
Yeah.
like
No,
tread
no,
lightly with
no.
any
Very
substance abuse,
addictive.
but there was something about like my first time taking more than just like 3 little capsules of kratom at
Yeah.
once. I drank one of these drinks. I was just like totally fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just I sat there like new people were coming up and sitting at our table and introducing themselves, and we would talk to them for like 2 hours,
Yeah.
3 hours.
that was the one where I was
That's the
feeling
effect
most.
of like that's to me like it's not. I wasn't like buzzing, but I was fine.
That's why kratom bars are so cool. It's like they're
Very social.
yeah, very social, very cool, very like you can feel free to meet anybody, talk to anybody.
Yeah.
It was really fun, but you know, I kind of, for a second, you know, the first 10 minutes you're at a kratom kava bar, you're like, we should have a kava bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like,
This
all
is so cool.
This is so cool. But then you start paying
It
a
is.
little bit closer attention to what's going on, and you're like, oh, there's an underbelly to all
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can feel it if
You
you,
can
if
feel it.
You could tap into it while you're sitting there.
It literally took me 15 minutes to
Yeah.
realize, like, all right, people are going a little hard. There's definitely an addiction thing happening
Yeah.
going on here. This doesn't serve everyone.
Same
they
thing
also-
if you went into a bar.
Also,
Yeah.
like, I
That's
think the
true.
bartenders or whatever, the kava tenders, like, we went again and someone was, like, very attentive, like, hey, have you done this before?
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, I went to the bathroom, some girl's, like, puking up a ton of kava because she, like, they gave her, like, 2 big drinks, and she's like, I didn't eat anything, and it's
They
like,
gave you guys 6 drinks.
Well,
remember that?
it's crazy. You came back from the bathroom and you're like, there was some girl puking in there. And as you said that, I was like, I forgot that's an option. And it started like bubbling up. In me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh God. And then this kid sat down next to us and he had like an electric nectar collector. And like I'm sitting there like doing the like trying to stave off puking at this kava bar. And I'm just breathing, and he hands me this thing, and I'm like, oh, God, this is probably going to take me over the edge. And I hit it, and it actually calmed me the fuck down. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm cool, but I'm as, like, fucked up as you could be in public. You
Well,
know,
it
I don't
was-
seem
yeah.
fucked up, but, like, I'm on dabs, nicotine, and a bunch of
Kratom.
kratom now.
Those
And-
two, I guess, accentuate each other, is nicotine and kratom. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, so I was like, shortly after that, I was like, let's roll.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, we got to stop at the grocery store. We went in the grocery store. I'm walking around, and I'm like, you and I were laughing our
Yeah.
asses off. We're having a good time. And then it was like time to check out. I was like, I feel like I'm getting like Nick sick, even though I haven't had nicotine in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know what this feeling is. I'm like, I'm going to go wait in the car. And I go out to the car. And apparently you had told Cass, like,
Yeah.
Sean's out there puking.
I was like, Sean puked a bunch, and she's
And-
like,
and-
oh. What?
Yeah. So like you guys came out to the car and like I was like I didn't puke, and then so you guys start like we have a 3-minute drive home and you guys start arguing about some shit, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? And it's like it's starting to hit me more and more. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, Cass, can you stop? And you're like, oh yeah, yeah. And then you kept going. I was like, can you please?
well, because I was
stop?
on kratom.
What were we arguing about?
Well, you were like, what's for dinner? And I was like, fuck, guys. Like, we
Oh,
were doing this
yeah.
together. I didn't buy
told
dinner.
You guys,
I needed
like, all
help
this,
to
like,
figure out what we were going to
well,
buy.
I guess I could make this, or I could do that, or we could turn around. And I'm like, can you guys stop, please?
Yeah.
Please
I literally
stop.
I was like, hey, we could eat. What could we eat?
And Cass is like, oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. But I did tell you guys, and I'm like, please stop. And by the time we're pulling into the driveway, like, my mouth is watering. I run up the steps. I weave back to the bathroom at this Airbnb, and I just projectile vomit everywhere. And I'm
oh
like,
my god.
that's my first experience taking more than 3 capsules of kratom. Kratom. Like, this stuff is fucking insane. And I was like, for a second, I almost turned on it, but
Yeah.
I just felt way better after I puked and
Yeah.
did it again the next night.
That's the thing about Kratom. I feel like yeah, you did. I think the Kratom is like it has a delay sometimes where it's like
Yeah, dude.
comes on strong for the first like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah.
This is just my observations.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
like 40 minutes, and then like if you drink another one, you drink a little too much, you do a little too much nicotine. Like it'll be like an hour and a half after. I'll get home and I'll be like, literally, I'll like break into a hot sweat and I'll lay down. I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just like lay there for 20 minutes and then I'm fine.
Yeah.
I eat some food.
What
That
is this
helps.
stuff? You know, though, it's crazy. It just feels like it just feels like dancing with the devil a little bit. But so is
Yeah.
every alcohol bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sure.
So it is one of those things that you're like, it's like gambling. Like don't like the way our direction of our country's going with like unregulated gambling everywhere and part of every sports game. I feel like it's like predatory. But at the same time, like I want to be able to sit at a blackjack table. You know what I mean? So it's this like weird. I want to be able to go sit at a.
Yeah.
We really are Americans.
Yeah.
Like, we complain about this place a lot, but like it's like, yeah, you know, Kratom has a dark side. I don't think it should be illegal.
No.
Yeah.
Alcohol has a dark side. I don't think it should be illegal. Like,
Just should be. It's always educating and fucking.
but that's what we don't have.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why everything is so predatory, is because it's like we're uneducated and we just don't have our instincts about us. So all of these fucking things get thrown
Do
your
you know
way.
what could really change America or any really major country or anything? If we completely flip the curriculum, we started now. Starting now, in the next 5 years, we develop a new curriculum for kids.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a new that we all agree on.
Yeah,
That-
right.
By the
We
way,
would never all agree.
That's the problem, obviously. But I'm just saying, is like if we even took incremental steps to like, all right, let's change this a little bit. Let's maybe we'll put fucking taxes in high school. Like you teach.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it is happening, but it's happening in the opposite direction.
Teach
of
how
what you're
loans
thinking.
work. I
Yeah.
mean, because
How come we're never taught about money?
we got a loan for 50 grand at a 1% interest, and I was like, oh, that's nothing. But then I realized 1% interest leads to an extra it's actually an $80,000 we're gonna have to pay back.
Exactly.
And I'm like, someone told me like, well, that's the best loan you could get, so we just like jumped on it. But then I was like, the best loan I can get is having to owe $30,000 for having this $50,000. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So imagine what people are having to pay in loans when they aren't getting the best loan.
Yeah.
It's just crazy and then that's what 18-year-olds are making decisions about as far as what
Student
college
loans,
student
yeah.
loans they're going to have and pay off their school 10 times over.
It is weird though, because there's this whole like online curriculum. Like it's like almost like an Instagram, TikTok curriculum of like young kids. Like it's the grind mindset, and they're like 19 years old and they own a house or they have their own window washing business, and they just like they also put it on Instagram though. So then other 18-year-olds are like doing like I just met a kid in St. Pete. He's like, he's 18 years old. I think he fucking what was he doing? Went to school for like something baseball or I don't remember. It didn't pan out. He just bought a little ice cart. He got shaved ice. He got these little pump syrups. He has his own little business.
Damn.
And people are coming up all the time at Vinoy Park and fucking buying all this stuff. I'm like, you're going to be successful. I'm like, if you're doing this at 18 years old, I'm like, and I thought, I was like, that's so easy. I could do that. I'm like, I could just buy a cart and
Yeah.
then pick when I want to go out and just go out and sell fucking ices.
What
to
I
people.
want to do I saw it in New Orleans, the guy with taking Polaroids of people.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like $5 for 2 Polaroids. I'm like, that would be
that's a good
so fun.
Every
should
drunk
do that
person,
every-
every drunk person was standing there waiting to get their dumb Polaroid taken.
I should do
Some
that.
blurry, overexposed picture.
I should do that. That'd
Yeah.
be great for St. Pete. Everyone gets
Well,
drunk.
If you were a little bit more on that Sigma grind set,
I could get in the Sigma grind set. I'm just
it's that weed.
it's working for me. It's that it is no, for real. I'm not even kidding. Like that is definitely part of it. But then it's also like I work 2 nights a week. I fucking have other business ventures that I do. I'm like
we all have
yeah.
business ventures.
Lots of business ventures. But I was having a moment when I was way too high last night looking at you guys fucking with these fucking dabs. And I'm like, you guys are total, like, marijuana has you in her grasp.
I've
Oh,
felt
yeah.
you
You
thinking
guys
that.
are such little
yeah,
sluts. You
yeah.
spend so much money, time, and energy thinking about your goddamn devices. And I just like had this moment. I was like, if you guys put that energy anywhere else, I mean, imagine what kind of shaved ice company you could have.
I know. I am excited to take a 2-week break for my mistress in Japan because I'm not going to bring any weed or anything. That will be nice. I love this mistress. It's incredible. But
It's clear. I'm not even trying to judge it. It's just like kind of funny
No,
how
I could
she's
feel
got
you
you.
last night. Like you were
right
so
though.
high and you're like tense and shaking, and I could see you. I could feel your thought of like these guys are insane for continuing to hit this. Like I'm so high right now, and they're going to continue to do this. And then Joey had the alcohol out and all the things. We were just doing our like weekly. We have to clean all the
Yeah.
things, and I could feel that Cass was just looking at us like we're ridiculous. But I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a difference between men and women. I'm like, this is just our little thing. We're just bonding and cleaning our things and watching the Mets game. Like,
No,
it's all
for
good.
sure.
I don't judge you guys. I don't care. I don't want to care about what anyone else does. It just like I was just thinking how I would never ever spend as much time thinking about weed as you guys do.
And that, I don't know, because I'm
Too high to die.
Yeah, I have two I have like both of you guys on my shoulders, where it's like two sides where one's like, dude, you could get, if you spent the amount of energy you thought about weed, like on something else, I could be owning multiple yachts right now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like also at the
I
same
just
side.
I said a shaved ice company.
Yeah, but also yachts. The shaved ice, that's the start. Then you get multiple, you get employees. It's how it starts. But then I have Sean's side where I'm like, yeah, but like my favorite memories, I'm stoned and like hanging out, and it just provides so many great experiences.
What life is.
Yeah.
That's more what life is.
The Hadzabe are doing it.
Yeah.
They're the
We've
oldest
established that.
They're the oldest hunter-gatherers that we know.
Yeah.
In Tanzania, they smoke weed. But
They're hitting the peak Pro 400.
But it might have started 200 years ago, and then
Either way, they have a good tradition.
No, they have a great tradition, but let's see how it pans out. I'd like to see that.
That's true.
I think it's gonna. I don't know.
This whole universe could use, at least humankind could use a little bit of what you're judging Joey and I for. Because think about it, if everybody was just like, I want to get high on fucking weed, how much it would calm this thing down from us being just pulling stuff out of the land and feeling the need to build new stuff. Like, I think if everybody was like more in the mindset of communing with the marijuana plant, I do think we would calm the fuck down, because like I always think the solution to a lot of our issues would be like if we had like 10 generations of us just being like, can we just chill and just make the best of what we have here and
Well, you guys
not
are
keep destroying our environment
Yeah.
to build up more and more and more. Like, I think this country needs to hit the blunt.
Yeah, whenever I feel like a little bad, I'm like, shit, we live in your parents' basement. I'm like, yeah, but we're not buying a new house and having to upkeep a whole new house. Like,
I don't
this is
wanna
the
have
most,
anything to do with that.
but this is the most like environmental way that people could live is like not needing to create a whole new building,
Not to mention, you're judging yourself on an American mindset. I was always said throughout me living with my parents, I'm like, in other countries, you live with your parents until you're married. That's like guys and girls. Like you live in your household, you live with your grandparents. You live like in Japan. There's a lot of that in fucking Korea and Latin America. You're like, that's your community, and that's why they can sell you so much shit and divide us so much, because we don't have a strong sense of community or
like a sharing economy.
Yeah, or an accountability.
I mean, the household has been broken up.
Yeah.
And, with that comes all the symptoms of our society right now, which are despair and addiction and desperation and workaholism and all this stuff that are just like false values that just take us further away from the family unit.
Kurt Vile calls it, and the family unit, it's become the family survival unit.
Yeah.
That's what Kurt Vile calls it. He's like, essentially, you've taken away the community, you've taken away the family, and you've created a very tight-knit survival pact.
Yeah.
Like
Kurt Vile?
Kurt Vonnegut.
Sorry, Kurt Vonnegut. I said Kurt Vile.
I was like, what song did
Kurt
he say
Vile
this
just
in?
says, check, baby, check.
Yeah, he said, check, baby,
one,
check,
two,
1, 2, 3.
I was like, I missed that whole chapter
Well, if
of
you
his
read
career.
into check, baby, check, 1, 2,
Where
3,
he's dropping
saying
sick
that-
quotes.
He's just saying survival unit. No, but it really has, like, and if you think about that, once it becomes a survival unit, it's basing its survival off of fear. Like, that's what's driving the family unit.
Yeah.
And that's why you can have a neighbor or neighbors or people who don't talk to each other, because you're in fear of each other.
Yeah.
Or the outside world.
Well, I'll say I've been in communication with my girlfriends who live across the river, and they had devastating torrential rain that wiped away bridges and roads and everything. They're really saying how it's like bringing their whole community together. Like they're knowing their neighbors better because everyone's checking in on each other, and there's something really, as devastating it is and as trapped as they are right now, there's something beautiful that's happening there as far as people coming together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we've had those moments collectively. And like I spoke about in a few podcasts ago, like there was that moment when 9/11 happened, but it was weird because we were united in paranoia and anger and fear and how are we going to retaliate. And then we had a similar type of vibe for a small window towards the beginning of the quarantine. You know, when it just
Yeah.
felt like everyone was on the same
We're
page.
like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, like what's doing? How are you guys holding up? We're all cheering out the window, you know. We're all getting on Zooms together and checking in with each other. Like, remember we would do Zoom calls with my friends who we never talked to anyway. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it's like, hey, 10 of us are gonna hop on a thing and
We
just
did.
catch up.
I did that too.
You know, and it's not like we've done that before or since. So
Yeah.
something about that brought us together.
Yeah.
You
no,
know,
I definitely feel that.
we could tap into that feeling every day here.
Yeah.
Without tragedy having to strike. We
Mhm.
could easily tap into that feeling, but the systems we're beholden to train us to do the opposite. They
Make
train
it
us
very
to
hard.
think of each other as competition and threat.
It's weird because, like, they even say, like, in Katrina, they showed a lot of studies from Katrina, like, and they did this. I think it was like a big study on natural disasters or just disasters in general, and they found that most people are under the impression that when a disaster strikes, it's every man for themselves. Like, there's looters, there's rapists, there's blah, 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 robbers, everything. But in reality, when that does happen, they find that people become more helpful to each other. They're actually more likely to sacrifice themselves. Like, there's so many more, and the media never really focuses on it. There's so many more stories of, like, especially in Katrina, of people doing these Herculean tasks, and saving people and
I
stuff.
know.
And they focused on the very small part of it,
Yeah.
which is what the media is going to do anyways.
Yeah.
But they found that in disasters, people actually come closer together and they help each other more.
Yeah.
Because it's like if an alien attacked the entire world, if there's an alien out there that if a UFO showed up, a real one, and it was dangerous, we all, like, kid you not, we would all definitely unite with each other. We'd be like, look at this
Yeah.
fucking thing that we got to
Yeah.
deal with.
Even like the protests and all the looting and everything that went
Yeah.
on, like the media would scare the shit out of
Yeah.
you with all these images and stuff. And then if you watch, like, Vagrant Holiday just went in there with a camcorder and actually filmed it, you start to see who the looters are. It's like, these are kids.
Yeah.
They're teenagers who are like it's
Just
like they
fuck
want
shit
it's
up.
like wanting to go to St. Patrick's Day and drink too much. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
It was
it's like
literally
that's where
like-
it's happening.
Yeah.
They've been cooped up in a
Yeah.
quarantine. They just missed their senior year, and
Totally.
like they're fucking pissed, and they're out here raging. And despite the way it looks, they actually have each other's backs. When
Yeah.
you watch the footage,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, first of all, these are all 19-year-old kids.
Yeah.
This is 19-year-olds being how
Yeah.
they would be.
Yeah.
But they also kind of are like they're jumping through flames together and going through windows, and they're
Yeah.
helping each other
Yeah.
get in and out of
Yeah.
these places. Nobody's fighting.
No.
You know, it's
No.
it's a very strange
It
fucking
is.
thing when you go in, like when you just try to go past like the illusion that the media is trying to play on you, and just be like, let me just get a more nuanced view of this. And after I saw that, I was like, oh, this makes total sense. This
yeah.
is like the teenage collective immune system firing up and having a fever and just burning
Totally.
something out. And
Yep.
it's okay.
Yep.
Don't worry, we'll be able to replace all those fucking products that everyone's
Yeah.
so worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. It does just like, again, it's like the only time there was arguments there was like when the people would stand in front of the businesses, be like, dude, someone owns this.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know
yeah.
why you're fucking, like, someone owns
Yeah.
this. It's like an immigrant family that owns this
Yeah.
business. I don't know why you're, and it was like a Jimmy John. So you're like, fuck. You're like, damn it. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, it's hard to say. Or like a T-Mobile store. That's what it was. They were like, oh,
Yeah.
dude, somebody owns this. It's a family. And it's like, fuck. They want to burn
Yeah.
down a company, but it's like, well, they've kind of invested.
yeah, no, it's why you can't just like have just like, well, here's my view on it
Totally.
type of thing. It's really person by person, situation by situation.
Well, because everyone always used to be like, steal from Walmart or steal from whatever. And the reason you guys are always like, oh, Cass, you never stole. And I'm like, yeah, because I can't see it as stealing from Walmart. I see it as stealing from the manager who then has to answer
Yeah.
for the fact that they're down product and
yeah,
stuff
and he's
like
just
that.
some 19-year-old,
Yeah.
$19
Yeah, who's
dollar
like
an hour guy.
exactly like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, but
always fucking somebody
When you're
over.
stealing from CVS, no one's really getting in trouble. They have literally insurance
Yeah.
that says we're going to
Yeah.
get this much stolen per year.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know, but you think about, I like
not
just
that
what
I
I
steal
said.
anymore, by the way. Just saying for the record.
And look, and if you are into stealing, get while the getting's good because they're tightening this shit up. Like
Yeah,
they're starting
yeah.
to premiere Walgreens where you can't even see the products, you can't even get to them. You go to a touch screen, and it comes out like B&H style.
Whoa.
Like
Yeah.
there's not even an opportunity to go in there and pull
Whoa.
off like a shoplifting thing.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, they're tightening everything up.
Well, I was just going to say it's what we were saying is like, it's kind of gross, and it's one of the most beautiful things about human beings, and it's also the most dangerous, is like our love for one another and what we can do. And I think the saddest thing that happens, and it's happening in a grander, more staticky phase than just like war, is like when you take that love for one another and you use it for something that's like quote unquote evil. So like for war is the drastic situation.
Yeah.
You're killing somebody else because you have the love of your brothers and the people around you. Like
Your country.
yeah, your country, or this idea, or you have this like this love, this
Yeah.
thing that you're protecting your family, your country, your beliefs, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And when that's hijacked, it's like that can just as easily be used to make something completely beautiful and synergistic for everybody. But like you're saying, like when you go out in the world, the way society's built, it's not building avenues for those to come out. Love.
No.
It's competition, it's jealousy, it's
Scarcity.
Scarcity, it's all these things.
Yeah. And it's up to the individual to kind of break that mindset, but it doesn't necessarily always benefit you in the short term,
No.
you know,
No.
because you're popping out of the Sigma grind set.
Yeah.
And the Sigma grind set has you seeing everybody a certain way.
As snow
and
cones.
Yeah. Everybody could potentially need a snow cone.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Yeah. Because I like how we look at the world. We'll go out and be like, everyone probably has some story to share, something to share that's like
They do.
that unites us, or
Yeah.
connects us. you
Yeah.
know?
It's inevitable. And it's crazy because like we'll go through making a movie like this and we don't even have to ask the subjects questions.
No.
It's like they can feel what we want and what they need to get out and what would be the cool thing to say in that moment. And it's always something more uniting. With a handful of exceptions. Like when we went to make American Sunset, we just went to a random place in Indiana and
Yeah.
just started talking to everybody. And, Lord knows they're probably mostly like right wing, the types of people that liberals would call crazy or
Yeah.
deplorable or whatever. No one brought that up besides one guy.
No.
There was one guy that
Oh,
was like a
yeah.
Bible thumping.
Oh,
we left
yeah.
him in the movie,
Yeah.
but like just to show. But like for the most part, like nobody wanted to talk about politics or otherization or
No.
all that stuff. Everybody, and without prompting, everyone wanted to say something about how we could come together in a better way.
Yeah.
Well, it's always like the extremist situations that get highlighted in the news, like even what we're saying about, Katrina or the looting or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like that's a small percentage of what actually is happening. It's actually more people are supporting each other. It just doesn't keep people glued to their TV in the same way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When you hear about that stuff, you're like, cool, yeah, that's what's making the world go around. I'm going to...
Wasn't there, who is it that, was it John Krasinski and his wife who were like doing the good news thing?
Yeah.
That was, but they stopped doing
I never
that.
saw it.
I never saw it either.
I
but-
think the ratings didn't take off.
Yeah. The good news. They're like, well,
Yeah.
this was happening. This is happening.
Yeah,
today.
well, because if that really were the mindset of our media, where they were like, let's just report positive, awesome things people are doing, all it would do is motivate people to turn off the TV and go do something like that themselves. But when
Yeah.
they're scaring you, it paralyzes you,
Yeah.
and you're stuck there.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to go outside.
And I
That's
need
a
to find out
scary
what's going to
place.
happen because it's
yes.
breaking news.
What's going to happen next? And in
you're looking
between-
for it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just start hitting you with like, you're gonna need this medicine. You probably have that. You should ask your doctor about this. Like all this fucked up. Like, and we're like the fucking lab rats of the world with this shit. No other government in the history of man has ever allowed their population to be experimented on and fleeced by pharmaceuticals
Yeah.
the way we do.
Yeah,
and we
we're the
just
only country
fully
with like direct-to-consumer advertising.
It's insane
Yeah.
to ask your doctor about something you saw an ad about. Like, to me, it's fucking insane.
I feel like they do that in all first world countries, like
No.
Australia.
No.
They
No.
don't.
We're the only country that allows pharmaceuticals to advertise. Like,
Oh, really? So they don't do that in any
No.
other country?
well,
Really?
other countries, other first world countries provide healthcare for their people, so you wouldn't need to do that.
That's true.
They're incentivized to keep their population healthy, not just overly medicated.
Yeah.
No one is medicated anywhere
Or
near.
incarcerated.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're about. Medicate, incarcerate, both,
Well,
whatever.
Think about living in this society. Is it not everyone's biggest fear, even if you're doing nothing wrong, to end up in jail? Like,
Yeah.
that's everyone's biggest fear. And we don't,
Or homeless.
or homeless.
So that's why we need to have gigantic populations of incarcerated and homeless, because like I was telling you the other day, in capitalism, you know, there needs to be a surplus labor force in order to keep the labor force scared and going back and, you know, performing for slave wages. There needs to be a surplus. There needs to be an example of like, well, I can't end up in jail or on the streets, so I better do the right thing.
There needs to
I
be.
think homeless has gone from like 100,000 people to like 700,000 people or something.
And when?
In the last like 3 years.
Well,
5
before
years?
the pandemic, it was probably more like 400,000 or 500,000, and
So
now
like
it's
5
I think it's
years.
now up around 700,000. But there's also no way to get an accurate count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like all those people we saw in Asheville, it seemed like half their population is homeless. Are they all counted? Did somebody account for
And
them?
then there's like home insecure. Then there's people like us who like are living with family, but maybe that doesn't work out, or they get in fights with their family and have to like, you know.
They don't always. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, how a lot of people. Wow, there's a lot of homeless people.
World record.
Yeah, I don't know.
We lead the world in that shit. Nobody would.
Well, there's
else
like
treat their
17.
citizens like
There's
that.
17 million houses that are unoccupied.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for someone to Airbnb them.
But yeah.
If those homeless people could just get an account with Airbnb and some dollars, they could easily rent those places.
Yeah. Super
Like,
easy.
What's their problem?
Yeah. No, I think people end up in that situation because they don't even have that family survival unit. Like, if you don't have any community, it's hard.
Well, that's the
make it in this
number one
world.
reason for homelessness is catastrophic
Yeah.
loss of family. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People lose their moms or their whatever, whoever's maybe taking care of them,
Yep.
or like.
Yeah. We've had these conversations with
Yeah.
people on camera.
Yeah.
Who they're like, you know, because it's very expensive and nowadays to be the sole income and to have an apartment in this country.
Yeah.
Because of how expensive apartments are, you can't do that on minimum wage anymore.
Yeah, Alana was saying that to us. She said she's like, it's very expensive to be poor, and I know that's
Yeah.
that's a term that's out there, but she was explaining the ways how and
Yeah.
like how she's had to hack the system as a single mom, and like
Yeah.
she's such a badass.
She's
is.
a boss.
She's so cool.
It's insane, but it shouldn't have to be a Herculean task to be a single mom in this country and put a roof over your head. It shouldn't have to take that much effort.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
We're the wealthiest country the world's ever known.
Yeah.
And there's people like that who are badass and full of life and intelligent and very capable who are like living on the edge of precarity. Like, that's a travesty.
Question: what do you think if en masse everybody, because I feel like it's very expensive to live in the places where everyone wants to live on the coast. What if everyone en masse came? Like, my Uncle Jeffrey's has like a house to himself for like $800 a month in Ohio.
Yeah.
He doesn't live where anything near anything interesting. But like, what if en masse everyone started to creep together?
It's just an expensive thing to do.
Well, yeah,
To
start
move at
moving
all
around.
is like an
Yeah.
extremely expensive thing. And we were moving out of an apartment into my parents' house, and it was extremely expensive. Getting all the shit out of there, canceling bills, starting new accounts, all this shit. It's just like, yeah, it's probably like $5,000 to $10,000 to even consider moving somewhere, and then like the down payment on the next place or the first and last month's plus security deposit, all this shit. So like a lot of people are just like stuck in their situation, but I think that will happen, and unfortunately, I think the predatory capitalists have already got it locked up. I mean, BlackRock bought like fucking 70% of the available houses in this country. Like, they know what's going to happen. Yeah, and they know to keep it rigged and to keep people in a certain income bracket and just to keep them locked there. The American dream is not possible.
Yeah.
You know, it would take an extraordinary amount of luck for that to happen, you know, these days.
Exactly. Well, throughout time, I think it's like it's a luck of when you were born, who you were born as, your access to whatever. It's like, even if like there is that pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality and story, that does happen. But like you're saying, it's like it's so rare because like this system is so hard and complicated. It's not as easy as just buying a snow cone truck, and it's like if you can't even fucking, if you've spent 12 years dealing with fucking your mom smoking crack or something, like, I don't know, or like,
well, because if this guy's snow cone business took off in any kind of way, you don't think Amazon would be like, hey, make a snow cone business and just charge 15 cents less, and like you know what I mean? I know it's like kind of a weird example, but that's literally what people are facing. You get to a certain level with your business, and they'll just copy the product
Yeah.
or make the generic version or make the cheaper version. Amazon fucks people left and right.
Well,
you know?
what people are doing basically is just like in business. Ultimately, you want to provide a good that people need, or sell a good that people don't need and make them think they need it. But if you're providing if you truly, I think if people really took businesses in providing a need, it could, I mean, I'm not saying it's to solve everything at all, in fact, but it's still like if you're providing a real service to a community or whatever you're doing, like business has been bastardized, the word so much, but like if you can look for that and how to improve your community in a way, like that is actually one of the most honest things you can do, I feel like, in capitalism. And it's like one of the most honest. I say that one of the most honest because it's hard to be honest in capitalism.
Yeah.
It's hard to be just by definition of what it is.
It just fucks people up, and I think when we're out there making this movie, just driving to random towns and stopping wherever and posting up places, you see how much this doesn't work for people.
Yeah.
And especially men. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it works for women, but like we're talking to a lot of men who are lost and confused and drifting around and probably homeless.
Yeah.
And
going to end up homeless.
Or yeah. And not that there's not women in that exact same situation. They're just harder to come across out in the wild. You don't just see them sitting around.
Yeah.
You can just go up to them and talk to them. But I don't know. I just feel more and more what the system does to people and how much more amplified it is for our generation than it was for our parents.
Yeah.
You know, and how much more amplified it was for them and what this place is going to be like for our nieces and nephews. Like,
I think about that, but then I go back to Wake. I go back to that one guy we watched, the fucking 87-year-old Catskill guy. If you watch it on YouTube, look up 87-year-old Catskill farmer. It's like 19, whatever.
This guy was born in like 1820, and there's a video of him from like 1920.
Yeah, and he's like, I've almost been around 100 years, and he's like, nah, not much has changed. The trees still grow, and the and he's like, but essentially he's like, you know, we think that our, you know, since for his example was like fax machine and a fucking telephone and electric lights, he's like, you know, people are going faster and blah, blah, blah. And he's basically saying like, we think we're in the most important time. And he's like, but I don't actually think it's any different than our fathers.
He was like, my father
fathers.
had just as good of a time as I did, and his father had just as good of a time as he did.
Yeah.
And all these technological advances happened in their lifetimes.
Exactly.
And they're like, it's different, but it's the same.
Yeah.
You know, and he's almost like saying like it's the same struggle.
Exactly.
But it's also the same good time.
Exactly.
Like when you tap into a good time, you're tapping into a good time that's been happening since the beginning of this whole fucking thing. That's why it's so comfortable to be laughing with your bros.
Yeah.
It's in our DNA.
And it's so interesting telling stories and jokes and like a community, like friendships, brotherhood, whatever it is, like family, like that all is so powerful. But yeah, like you're saying, like which is why it's so funny. Like even as like, you know, making art, you kind of have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to be like, this is what needs to be said. This is important. This is like unique, individual. I just watched like a random video on Instagram. It was like, you've probably seen it. It's like that one Italian artist back in like 1950s or something. He wanted to make an American song, but it had no American lyrics. So it just sounded American. And so all these Italian, it became like a #1 hit, and everyone thought he was speaking American and Italian. God. It's nothing. It's hilarious. I'll show you this. Yeah. I was like, that's genius. And I was like, oh shit. We think our art is so important, and it is important to us. Like everything you place importance on is important, but it's been there's been so many you and me's and yous like throughout time, and it's not to discredit you or discredit us. It's just to say like we're all recycling through. Do your part. Keep going for it. No one's really that special, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. We are and we aren't. Like just do your part. It's going to keep coming.
The mantra of our first acid trip, been here before, been here forever.
Exactly.
Like, you know, it just made sense to me. And we just kept saying that. And, it's rang true very much. Even the more psychedelics you do and the more you tap into your DNA and your ancient ancestry and your future and all that stuff, there is something oddly settling about, there has been like just a through line of chillness that you can tap into. It's what got us here. Mm-hmm. You know, we've had to endure a lot. And our bodies know that, and our DNA knows that, and we try to ignore it and fill our life with shit and stuff and stimulation. Yeah. But
the chill remains beneath that. And there is something beautiful that you can tap into. And for me, growing up in the time I grew up, in the family I grew up, in the place I grew up, weed helps me do that. It helps me get there. So that's been like, that and music has been my sacrament. And, you know, maybe there'll come a time when I'll say, oh, I don't need this anymore. I don't want it. But I don't think I'll ever look back at this time in my life the way I look back at my alcohol time. You know? I think there was a lot of like weird and regrettable stuff and like not memorable and nights that you wish there was more better memories or whatever. I don't have that with weed. It's just made things like a little brighter and a little bit better and helped me tap into that ancient chill.
Definitely. The chill remains.
I did wake up groggy as hell this morning.
I will say that sometimes
I was
it's
like,
I'll
Jesus
green out.
Christ.
You just got to go run.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's exactly,
like,
yeah.
well, but even if I don't run, and like I learned this from Huberman, as fucking lame as that sounds, the first thing I do, I get up, and before I even pee anything, I still have my mouth guard, and I just go outside and just get 5 minutes of sun in my eyes.
Drink a little water.
Then I chug a water, everything starts flowing.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding, so I don't know.
What the hell?
What the hell?
But yeah, I will say the weed you can green up a little bit, but like the exercise helps, all that stuff. But without the weed, it's just a necessary thing. We had a great hang last night, but then sometimes you wake up a little groggy. You gotta go for a run. When I'm not smoking weed, it's like maybe I wouldn't have had such a great hang. I'd wake up a little more crisp, but like, you know, I don't know.
My whole life is like a little bit like crisp and masculine to a point that is unbearable for myself and the people around me when I'm not on it.
I think you do great with weed. I think you're one of the examples.
Sometimes I wish you would smoke earlier in the day.
Yeah, no, I know. Cass has had that.
Yeah.
You know, like just happen.
No, I
to,
think
like I want from my
this
dad.
I had this moment where I was like, okay, Sean's pissed. It's 9:30. He'll probably be pissed until 2:30 until he smokes weed.
Just like looking at the watch.
I'm just like,
damn,
God,
that's 5 hours
Yeah.
from now. Shit, man, this motherfucker should wake and bake, right?
Yeah.
It's what I think about my dad. Like he comes down here with all this anxiety and this and
a
that.
little weed, dog.
It totally changes because all it is just like misplaced creative energy. He's just fishing out into the future and what else can I cast in? What other kind of fucking foul, disgusting, harmful shit can I pull into this ship right now? And I'm like, smoke a little bit of weed and we don't even have to cast anything out. We could just chill on the boat, man.
Yeah.
And he's so good at that. When he takes he can't smoke anymore.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I'm never going to try to make him smoke.
Which he hasn't been smoking. And I will say, for people who have parents who smoke, or who, if you smoke yourself, he now doesn't cough in the middle of the all. He was keeping himself and
heard him cough.
He was keeping himself and your mom up all night coughing this disgusting phlegm cough. He's been off cigarettes for probably about a month now.
6 weeks maybe.
And he's not coughing all day.
He had a mass in his lungs and it shrunk.
The mass shrunk.
Wow.
Sometimes I feel like people don't quit smoking because they realize how quickly their body recuperates. But I think that if your body recuperates, you should be living a recuperated life as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We smoked a spliff the other day, and we all were like, thought we were sick.
I thought I was sick. Later that night, I heard like Joey's the way he was, and I was like, "Fuck, Joey caught something from someone." And then I started feeling it, and I was like, we smoked a spliff.
That's all it was.
Fucking so dumb. My first one in like a year and a half. I only took like 3 hits, and I paid the price for like 2 days.
I don't think I hit a spliff after that. I was like, no. We had those cigarettes, and I was like, maybe we'll roll a spliff, but it's like, I just don't have the fucking...
Not even a question. It's not even a temptation. No. I did it because we were hanging out with our new friend, and he's like, smoke a spliff. I was like, all right, let me hit that. And Cass hit it, and he rolled it really light, but it's...
No, the first one we rolled... I rolled, and I rolled it heavy. That's what fucked us up. Too spicy. Yeah, it was too spicy.
And I think that's what will ultimately keep my dad off cigarettes, because if he hit one even now, he would be just... it would floor him. It would crush him. Yeah. I don't even think he's wearing nicotine patches anymore. He's raw dog.
Oh, that's why he's like, fuck, it's hard. That's why he's like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
I was going to... Yesterday when he was like, it's so hard, I didn't want to say it, and I wasn't going to. Yeah, I'd be like, dude, just take like...
We offer it to him. It doesn't do anything for him. He doesn't care. It might now.
It will.
But are we going to get him hooked on Zip?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is like if you don't, which by the way, give him like months and months, half a year. It's like if he's like, dude, I just want to get like a 3 milligram, like get a fucking Zip in, like, or a nicotine patch.
It's all good.
It's so like I haven't heard him cough. I haven't heard him wheeze. He used to wheeze when he talked.
He sounds great. He sounds 20 years younger.
Yeah.
And it only took a month.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. Our bodies are so resilient, even at 70 years old. You know, his dad dropped dead at 49 years old of a heart attack, and he had quit smoking a year previous, but 49 years old, he dropped dead at 49 years old of a heart attack, and he had quit smoking a year previous, but 49 years old, he dropped dead at 49 years old of a heart attack, and he had quit smoking a year previous, but 49 years old, he dropped dead at 49 years old of a heart attack, and he had quit smoking a year previous, but I think back then they just didn't have the technology to like do tests and stuff. Like he probably could have had a stent in his heart and still been alive.
Do you know what's crazy is they've noticed that when you have like they say like lung cancer or some sort of cancer, like almost a year before your body just rejects cigarettes. Like some people, like a lot of older people would just be like, yeah, I just suddenly didn't want to smoke cigarettes anymore. And then a year or two later, they'll have like some sort of thing.
A relapse?
No, like a cancer. It's like the cancer.
He's saying like
it's
it's
on a
almost
delay.
it's
Yeah.
almost like maybe your body knows that you have cancer and it's too painful almost to smoke or
or it
something.
just knows. It
Or
just
just
stops
knows.
the cravings automatically,
yeah,
which is crazy.
it's like a survival instinct
Yeah.
or something.
Interesting.
Anyways, fear, but
Do you guys want to keep going over on the Patreon for a little bit? Maybe
Or
we'll
you
do an
could be
afterglow.
Boise.
Yeah,
Or
we
we
could
could,
do
or we could go right into Boys Club if
Yeah.
Cass wants to go bleed.
yeah. Do you want to go breed?
Yeah, I'm down to do more. I
Yeah.
think the people deserve it.
Something will be
People love
going
it.
on.
Something's going on.
Our
after this.
patrons are true
Yes.
homies. We speak a little different to the true
Ding, ding, ding,
homies.
ding, ding. We get some secrets out there. We can drop some names for once in our life.
Awesome secrets with
Awesome
real
secrets.
names, real people,
Yeah.
real incrimination.
All on the Patreon.
All on patreon.com/churchofchill. Join up. Like we're doing our best. We're putting out a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're not fucking phoning it in like some other Patreons.
Nah.
We put real shit on there constantly, and it's just a fun time. And our Discord community is popping off. So
Yeah.
lots of people making friends and
Awesome secrets.
awesome secrets. Thank you so much, y'all. Peace, love, and magic.
Ding, 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 ding.